last episode, we had just gotten approval on our first inspection. Rebar reinforcing in our structural foundation footer. And it was now time to prepare to pour the concrete. Olivia's parents came to catch the fall colors and to help us prepare for pour day. We were using ICF forms to form up our foundation walls, and the panels arrived, so we had to load them into the back of the truck to move them onto the site. These insulated concrete forms are easy to assemble and allow us, as DIYers, to put together a foundation without using traditional formwork. These forms stay in place and act as the insulation for the foundation walls. The pieces are made out of foam and are actually really light, but put all together, they actually weigh quite a bit. The same company that built our SIP panels that you'll see in later episodes also manufacture these ICF forms. It would be a while before we were ready to put these forms up, so they'd have to store on site through the winter.
When I wake up in the morning, drinking coffee on my balcony, trees are dancing to the whistle of the wind. Lord, I'm thankful for everything.
So pour day came, and we were super excited. As you can see, it had snowed the night before, but that didn't chill our spirits. Olivia and I worked hard to make sure that everything was ready, and the two of us poured the concrete.
Please don't leave me, Lord, stay around. From the cradle to the grave, you give me everything. I've got it all. Your light is shining, and I'm thankful every day. Lord, I'm thankful for everything. From the cradle to the grave, you give me everything. I've got it all. Your light is shining, and I'm thankful every day. Lord, I'm thankful for everything.
Rather than spending an extra $1,000 to get a long arm pump truck, we opted for the conveyor belt with the sleeve. This worked fine until we got to the far west end of the building, where the sock wouldn't quite reach. So Olivia filled 5-gallon bucket after 5-gallon bucket with concrete, and I hauled them over to the corner to dump them into our drop footer section. After that, we carried more buckets and a couple wheelbarrows full to get the pad underneath where our future fireplace would go. Luckily, the concrete truck driver was super patient with us. He had a lot of tips and tricks and even jumped in to help us out at this part right here. I'm sure when he showed up and it was just us two crazy kids and not 3 or 4 guys working, he probably thought we didn't have a clue what we were doing. And honestly, he was probably right.
And I'm thankful every day. Lord, I'm thankful for everything. Lord, I'm thankful for everything. Lord, I'm thankful for everything.
Wow, I can't believe you're helping us. That's so
hasn't told us his hourly rate yet.
I'm pretty deep.
This guy helping us, his name is Coach. He's a friendly neighbor who stopped by while we were pouring concrete and offered to follow up behind us and help float the top of it. We were really thankful to have his help, since it was just Olivia and I trying to do all of the work. This is another one of the small joys of building a house yourself. Friends stop by to help out, or even complete strangers, like this guy who we actually came to know later. But sharing a hard day's work with a friend or a stranger really brings them closer to you. Once the concrete was poured, the truck left us. We spent the rest of the afternoon leveling the top of the concrete to be smooth. We then installed vertical rebar by pushing it into the concrete after it had a little time to set up. These will tie into our vertical reinforcing in our ICF foundation walls later. Coach helped us for a little while longer before he called it quits and continued on his walk. He didn't even send us a bill. Once everything was leveled, we covered it all with an insulated tarp to help the concrete cure overnight in the cold temperatures. After a few days, it was time to pull it all off and reveal our hard work. Okay, so a little tour of the footers. So down here in this section is where our walkout wall will be. So this needs to be lower. So that's why it drops down there 4 feet and drops down over here 4 feet. We've got our 4-foot drop, which comes down to our other ICF wall that comes in right here and will come up to this level. Down here we have our sleeve for our electrical service to come through right here, and that comes through over on this side, which we'll have to dig out. This section here is for the chimney. This is where the chimney walls will jog out to where these verticals are. But just going around the perimeter, we did put our second U for ground over here for continuity. So this here, we had to put in some extra bracing because we were actually low on our excavation here, and this was all going to be a little too high, too much of a gap between the bottom of the footing form here. So this is where we had the most kind of spillage and wasted concrete, but adding it on this side and on this other side kind of helped to minimize that spillage. We've got our pad in the middle for where our column will rest. Going around the footer here is the water line that we just had installed. So that goes underneath the footer, up and out to the driveway. So that is all buried, and they actually got it inspected for us too, so it's all ready to go for next year. Down here in this corner is where we have our sleeve for our main waste going out. So this will be our 4-inch sewer pipe going out, and that goes out to this side, which we'll take that little piece of plywood off of there, and that will go out down there, down to the septic field, down to the septic tank, and then to the leach field. We have our actual U for ground right here, which actually turned out really well because it's about an inch in from the edge of the concrete. So we will tie into that when we have our electrical service put in. Back to this end where we drop down our 4 feet again. that's our foundation for now. Next spring, we'll put up all of these ICF blocks behind me here, and those will go up 9 feet, and then we'll put a floor, put a slab down here, and then go vertical with the SIP panels. But this is an awesome first step. So I'm stripping off the forms here down in the drop footer section, and looks like we do have one area that's got a little blowout here. There's a lot of concrete in this guy right here. So this is the only section so far that I've seen that didn't quite stay perfectly flush, but I think it's going to be okay. Our footer was complete. Next up, we shut down the site for the winter, and we come back in the spring to start building up our foundation walls. Thanks for watching, and see you next episode in the springtime.